Here at Unwind at West Clocks, which in the building. And I am going to start off today kind of telling you a little bit about why I do what I do. And then we'll go into what Ayurveda actually is, what it's about. And then we'll end with some questions if anybody has any. Okay? So the reason that I kind of decided to bring Ayurveda to the Illinois Valley, and not just me, also Emily Manternak. She is my coworker, my partner in crime. She is at the front door, so I do not want to forget about her. But the reason why we've brought it to the Illinois Valley is because we found it super beneficial to our health. In 2020, I was dealing with several ailments within my body and my mind. I had digestional issues to where I couldn't eat certain foods anymore. I was really only drinking water. And I also had severe back pain. I was diagnosed in my early 20s with degenerative disc disease. But at this point in my life, it had just gotten really severe. And I ended up having to retire from my 20-year business that I had built just because of how much pain I was in. I also had a cyst the size of a lime on my thyroid, and I was dealing with anxiety, depression, of course depression, because I was going through all of this stuff, and just going through a lot, and overthinking to the point where I could not sleep very well. So I went to numerous doctors. I've had many tests done, and I was coming up blank. I have nothing against Western medicine at all, but for me, it just wasn't helping. It wasn't working, and I needed to find something because I felt as if I didn't do something to help myself. I felt I was getting really sick, and so I started doing some research. I stumbled upon Ayurveda. And as I was reading about it and learning more, I just felt like it was true to me. It just felt like truth, and I needed to know more. And so I started implementing some of the things that I had learned, what I was reading about, but I still didn't quite grasp all of it. There was so much to it. It was just hard to understand all of it. And so I noticed some changes within my body as I was working through what it was directing me to do. But since I didn't quite understand it, I decided in July of 2022 to travel to India, where to learn and to also have some treatments done on myself to help bring my body back into balance. And so I went. I had quite a few Panchakarma treatments done. Panchakarma is where we have all kinds of toxins within our bodies, whether it be environmental toxins from the air, soil. We also have endotoxins, which are the bacteria. There's certain bacteria in our guts that are more susceptible to different foods, then they could change. And so if we're eating saturated fat and too much processed foods, it can make those bacteria turn into endotoxins, or a type of toxin within our bodies. And then we also have whether it be injury, whether it be mental strife that happened during childhood, that kind of release that ourselves. Our bodies are natural by sweating, urinating, getting rid of those waste materials, things, hurting more. So say if you had an injury in your neck, you have a herniated disc or something. And let's use me as an example. I had a herniated disc in my neck about 10 years prior to all of this. And toxins tend to gravitate towards certain areas of your body that are weak or are hurting already. So you'd be like, oh, it's because my pain is because I hurt my neck years ago and it just never is going to heal. That's not necessarily true. It's because the toxins have gone to that area and I've kind of get stuck there. So panchakarma treatments are where, like, there's preparation. First of all, there's dietary changes that we have to do in order to get your body prepared for panchakarma, so that you can easily let out those toxins, just like any other kind of like preparation for surgery. You don't want to go in for a colonoscopy without ending, like, getting rid of all you need to in your bowels, So, like, if you think of toxin as like honey, okay, really sticky. And so if you were to pour honey into a pan and then try to pour it back out, it's going to take a while. But if you were to oil that pan with some healthy oil and then put honey in there, the honey is going to pour out a lot easier. So this is what panchakarma is kind of doing. It's preparing the body with diet, and then a week prior, you prepare the body with healthy oils on the outside and inside. They want to make sure that you're healthy and oily so that we can get rid of those toxins. And then panchakarma treatments are anything such as an abhyanga massage, where they're massaging like different marma points, really trying to get that loose. And then you do like sweat therapies. There's quite a few other panchakarma treatments, but I'm not going to go into them all. But that is kind of what I went over there to go do and learn. And so I had a lot of that done, as well as meditation while I was there, daily meditation, daily yoga for my back and my mind, and learning about the Ayurveda. When I was done, I was only there for about a month, I felt probably 95% better. I could move, I could bend over, I could eat foods that I wanted to again, I felt like a new vivacious life. Like I just felt more lively. And so I came back, and I'll be real with y'all. I had this regime where I was over in India for a month, and I was meditating every day and doing all this, and I came back to real life, and reality hit me in the face, And so it took me a while, but I knew what I knew. So it took me a while, but I was able to incorporate what I could here with the foods that I felt were the healthiest here. And so I've been able to find my own way with my own routine. Okay? So now I'm going to go into Ayurveda a little bit, and explaining more about like the elements and how certain things become out of balance, not just by toxins, but by the things that we do. Okay? So let's go. So in Ayurveda, the 5 elements, earth, air, fire, water, and ether, they're present in all things, including us. Ayurveda is the world's most vast form of naturopathic medicine that there is in the world. It's over 5,000 years old. Okay, so it dates back quite a long time ago. And the elements are the building blocks of the world, so they're in everything. So I want to talk about the qualities of the elements, and this is important because once we learn about the qualities of elements, we can correlate that to the food that we eat. We can correlate that to the exercises that we do to help keep our bodies in balance. Okay? So air, when you think of air, can anybody tell me maybe what they think a quality of air would be? Anybody have any ideas? Okay. Energy. Could also be always moving. It's kind of cold. It's kind of rough on your skin if you ever go outside on a windy day. Okay. Let's see if there's anything else. Cold, rough, it's dry. Okay. It's very light. Yes, thank you. That was when I was like, I can't remember. But yeah, it's very light in nature. Then we'll move to fire. Fire is hot. It's oily / shiny. It's transformative. It can transform things. And let's see, is there anything else? It's also light. It's also light in nature, okay? Water. Water is heavy, it's wet, it's smooth, it's cold, it's nourishing, okay? And then earth, which is dry, also rough. It's heavier too. And let's see, earth is dry, rough. I think that's kind of it. You'll get the gist of it. And ether. Ether, this one's a little bit harder for people to understand the concept of it, but it's all of which the other elements are, like, it doesn't have any of the other elements in it. So it's like, it's cold because it lacks heat. It's light in nature because it lacks the heaviness of like water and earth. It's like the space in between. It's space and time. So there's no movement because it lacks the flowing of air. All right? So that's what ether is. And so when we combine certain elements in Ayurveda, it creates what we call a dosha. And inside one of these packets, if you didn't get one, you'll get one before the end of the class. Inside the packets, there is a dosha quiz. They'll help to kind of figure out maybe what your dosha is, because everybody has a predominant dosha within them. All right? So one that's has been more, they have more of it in their body since the day they were born. And so that's what you want to kind of take care of. So you can always do that test later. So ether and air, when you combine those two elements, it creates what we call the vata dosha. So vata doshas are very light in nature. They tend to be fairly thinner framed. You can see their bones more easily. They're always moving. They're like the go, 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 go kind of people, like constantly on the go. And they're like spontaneous. They're very adaptable to their situations. Let me think. They also are creative thinkers, very creative thinkers. So vata doshas also have they tend to be colder than most people. They're always the ones with the cold feet, the cold hands, the cold extremities. Also, they have dry hair. They'll have dry skin, thinner skinned, so that if you can see that, qualities of what we talked about how air is, that is what you're going to see a lot of times in a vata dosha. Okay, they're going to have drier skin, drier hair. They're going to be constantly moving, and so that's kind of how they are. We're moving on to pitta dosha, which is the elements of fire and water. And the pitta dosha, they are very, so I didn't say this about vata dosha, so let me just get you rewind a little bit. Vata doshas, the air quality, where you see this in the body is in movement. So as we're moving, we see air. This is our part of our air, our vata dosha. And like our bowel movements, it's the movement throughout the bodily systems. So that's where we can also see our air elements. As well as, I'm trying to think what else. I think that's it. Oh no, in our thoughts. So our thoughts can be also our air. Okay? So moving on to pitta dosha, where they're in charge of within the body is our digestion, whether it be with food, whether our digestion with food or with digestion with our thoughts. So they're very good at discerning whether or not someone's telling the truth. They're really good at telling whether or not something's good quality or bad quality. You know, if somebody's trying to sell you something, you're like, I don't know about that. You know, that doesn't look like it's that great a quality. You know, they can kind of discern better than other people, quite honestly. They tend to be like type A personalities, a little bit more fiery in nature. They're very convincing talkers too. A lot of times when you see somebody who's a Pitta dosha, they'll be people who are leading the country, you know, because they're very convincing with their words. They're very engaging. People want to listen to them and what they have to say. That is how Pitta doshas are. And then, like when Pittas become out of balance, you could see things such as like rashes in the skin, acid reflux or heartburn. You can see like inflammation, that too. So keep that in mind. And then we'll move on to Kapha dosha. Kapha dosha are the energies of water and earth. When you combine those two. And Kapha type people tend to be, they have like a thicker frame. They're very sturdy and very grounded people. They're also really loving, very caring. You tend to see them in the healthcare systems, like where that's nurses or people just who really have, I don't know, I like to call it consider it like grandmother energy, kind of like just really sweet, very kind, loving individuals. They also are the types who like want to stay in bed and just chill there for a while. Like they don't want to get out of bed. They're probably the ones that are probably closer to getting late for work because they're just like, I don't want to leave my bed. But no. Let's see. Imbalances of the Kapha dosha could look like cysts. They could look like growths of the watery nature. So that's why I say cysts. Extra mucus, congestion in the lungs. Since they have water, mostly water, and a little bit of earth, that's why you see it in the lungs. They can just get more congested. I feel like a lot of people who had, back in 2020 and 2021 when people got COVID, I feel like Kapha people really suffered a lot more from that because of just the fact that they already have more mucus than most people. So like Kapha people have more mucus in the stomach lining. They can digest food easier. It kind of it helps them. Well, so can Pittas. So Pittas can digest food because they're all that fire, so they'll burn it up pretty easily. But they don't have as much mucus in their membrane of their stomach. But I'm trailing off. So that is Kapha dosha. So Ayurveda says that nothing happens that is uncaused, unmerited, or not produced by our own actions. We bring about and are responsible for our own condition in life, whether it be mental or physical. And we possess the power to correct it by doing the opposite in nature to our imbalance. So what that means is, whether it be in this lifetime or in, say, generational. I'll give an example. I had acid reflux really bad, and I started getting it in my 30s. But, and so my son, it started happening to him in the age of 5. So it came a lot sooner for him. So the foods that I was eating prior to even having my son affected his overall makeup and what he could eat and whatnot. So it happened sooner in my son and in my daughter, actually, than it ever did in me. So if we can find where we need to work on and start correcting that, we can correct it for ourselves and for our future children, grandchildren, So let's see. Ayurveda teaches us that even if the causes of things can be complicated or may have come from a distant past, even past lives, they can still exist and be understood. And once you understand and correct them, you can prevent the negative effects from arising. So, as I was saying earlier about Panchakarma and some of the treatments, I do some of these treatments here. I plan to go and get more education. But right now, I offer probably about 3 of the Panchakarma treatments that they had done over there. I can either do them as Panchakarma treatments or just like a wanting to get in balance. So say if like you feel like you're not really super far out of balance, but you're wanting to maybe get a push or a head start or something that's going to help propel you forward and feeling a little bit better, you can just get like one service done. You don't have to get multiple, because Panchakarma is like multiple sessions with someone who's really wanting to get rid of a lot of the toxins and to really start over. So some of the Ayurvedic services that I do are, there's a pot light therapy. It's usually recommended for people who have overall like body pain, body ailments, rheumatoid arthritis, spondylosis, frozen shoulders, muscle tension, and so on. And the treatment helps relieve pain and inflammation within the body. It helps to improve circulation and flexibility. And the benefits are just basically to help, reduce pain, improve digestion, detoxify your body. It's considered like a sweat therapy in India. So you use I take some herbs. I take rice. I'll use onion, turmeric, rosemary, neem leaves, quite a few different herbs and things, and I will cook them up, and I'll put them in a bolus bag, kind of what's shown in that picture. And then I'll dip it into a medicated oil, and then I lightly beat the body with it. And it's hot, so it's going to help to open up the pores and sweat out any toxins, and also add in the healthy benefits of the herbs that were cooked, if that makes sense. Okay? Kativasti treatment, this was one of my favorites that I had gotten done in India. Let's say my predominant doshas, I have 2, you can have more than one, are fire and air. And so with air elements, when that can become out of balance, you can see things such as like degenerative disc disease. You can see things as far as like neurological even disorders. So ADHD, overthinking, all that kind of stuff. And so I was dealing with a lot of degenerative disc disease because my body was using up the healthy oils in my body, and I didn't have those in my back anymore to keep that lubrication, if that makes sense to everybody. And so Kativasti basically is a procedure where I make a dough out of black gram flour, which is like a lentil flour, and then I fill it with a medicated oil, very warm, and it to be concentrated in the spot that like you're having issues with. So typical places that I do this service is the low back, like up the upper back or near the neck, as well as the knees. There are other services that I can make, like molds for your eyes, and we put ghee in your eyes for people who have vision issues, okay? But those are also a form of basti. And so the benefits are it treats sciatica, it relieves stiffness, it soothes herniated discs, improves blood circulation. Almost all of them improve blood circulation. It can soothe inflamed nerves, so sciatica is huge for that. But yeah, that is the Kativasti. Udvartharnam therapy is more for it tends to be more for people who have an imbalance in earth and water energy. So for kapha people, it tends to be a better therapy for them. But vata and pittas can use this therapy. It's just recommended that they use oil before they put the powder on. So the powder that I use during this therapy is actually a mixture of 3 different fruits. They're India fruits. And it's called Triphala powder. It's very renowned in India. It's very, very coveted herb. And so I take it and I basically am giving you an exfoliation with this this powder, and it creates a heat within the body, which helps to improve your metabolism, which will help you like feel like you have more energy and like you want to do something, you want to work out. Because as you remember, I was saying how kaphas tend to like to stay on the couch or in their bed and stay warm and cozy. That can be something that can be an imbalance of them. And so this will help motivate you to kind of get out there and really start doing things. Okay. It's very vigorous. So it's kind of like a deep tissue massage in ways, but it's a deep tissue therapy. Like I said, you can have it with oil or without, depending on your constitution, your dosha. And like I said, it's good for weight loss. It helps to stimulate your metabolic rate and improve digestion. It's good for your lymphatic flow. Reduces subcutaneous fat, like really good for cellulite. It gives a bright glow to your skin, and it helps to reduce blood cholesterol. Shirodara. This one has been really popular, and I love Shirodara. Shirodara is anybody that has like overthinking, who deals with anxiety, that overall just needs to help their body's nervous system relax. I think we all kind of can live in a state of fight or flight sometimes. We're like constantly going, the world the way it is right now. It's go, 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 and we feel this pressure. So Shirodara is an all-over body experience, even though the oil is just poured from this container up here onto the third eye, and it's swayed back and forth over the forehead for your temples. I tend to massage the scalp a little bit too during this therapy to help work those oils in. And then I do that for about 40 minutes, running this oil over, constantly warming it up and pouring it back over your head so it absorbs into your head really, really well. It's very good for people who have like ADHD, any neural, wanting to calm that nervous system, you know? And so after about 40 minutes, I usually take that oil and I rub it along your spine, along your back, and I get it worked into that area too for about 20 minutes or so, just for that extra benefits. They didn't teach me that over in India, but I think I like to do things that I feel like are intuitively speaking to me, you know? So that's what I do. Oh yes, it helps with sleep. It helps to awaken your intuition. Reduces overthinking and anxiety. So it's really, really, really beneficial. Anybody can do this therapy, but it's really good for vatas. Abhyanga. Abhyanga is a therapy that's very, very similar to massage, but it's a bit different. It's not super slow. It tends to be very like vigorous, where I'm trying to work the toxins, out of the tissue, the deep tissue. And then I always recommend like Swadana afterwards, but we'll go over that in a minute. But this is overall just good for stress relief, to help to move the toxins in the body and to get them loose. Adding oil to your body every day is really important. You can do even an Abhyanga on yourself daily. We have at the table over here, we have, not over here, but where my table is, we have dosha-specific oils that you can take home with you and massage your body with on a daily basis. It's so good to add that healthy oil back into your skin. But if you want a practitioner to help you release some toxins, that's what the Abhyanga is really good for. But you can do it at home too, so just keep that in mind. It's dosha balancing for every dosha it's good for. Improve circulation and improve skin health. Okay, so we're on to the questions and comments portion. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I want to kind of add. I don't know if there is, but oh yes, there is some things that I want to add. So if you are, let's say, air, you're vata dosha, okay, air and ether. You know, you don't want to eat foods that are light in nature, dry, cold, rough. You know, you want to eat foods that are going to help nourish your body. So like stews and soups and more earthy, watery type foods, but cooked. Okay, because vatas don't have a strong digestion. It's easier for them to digest foods that's already cooked. So if you're eating like cold vegetables, you know, that are raw, it's really hard for vatas to digest those, and it takes a lot longer for them. So, it will kind of throw them out of balance a little bit. So if you're eating too many chips or too many breads and too hard for them, and will throw their air out of balance. So like you could do things, like I said, very and nourishing and whatnot. And then exercise wise, like you don't want to go out and do a bunch of cardio, you know, like running, because it's going to only heighten your air. Because in Ayurveda, like you more out of balance. So you want to do things that are like strength training that keep you grounded, or even yoga with flexibility. Yoga would be perfect for vata types. Pitta types, you know, you want to eat cooler foods that are going to help cool the stomach. You don't want to eat too many spicy foods because that's going to cause your indigestion, and all that stuff. Cooler in nature. And then as far as exercise, you know, you're already hot and fiery, hard for a half an hour and you're sweating really good. You want to make sure you're resting at least for a half an hour before you go and do anything else. And then kapha types, they can handle so much exercise. They really can, they have such stamina. I was like, this is not for me. It was 90 minutes of vigorous, but some people, because you're air and fire, so, you know, it's too much for you, too much movement, too much of a lot of other things, but it's workouts. And they want to eat foods that are, you know, they can eat more raw vegetables. They can eat, things that are just opposite in its nature. Like we do consultations. So if there's any point that you ever want to kind of learn more about your constitution, one of us will get back to you. We're also I'm offering some consultations today at my table if you want to come talk or learn a little bit more. And then I'm also going to be set up where I'm selling some different herbs and products that we sell that might help with some things that you have going on. But I definitely want to talk to you first about it and make sure that it's something that's right for you. I don't want to just be like, oh yeah, here you go, you know, good for you. So now, does anybody have any questions? Anything at all? Anything that they're dealing with they might want to ask about? Okay, so you're going to relate to every dosha. You're going to, you know, we have all of these within us, all of the elements we have within us. So some of them are going to seem very relatable. But since you have it as 6 in air, that most likely means that you're mostly air. And kapha, your kapha could be fairly close. So it doesn't mean anything good or bad. It just means so I am too. And so I try to have to balance both of those. So yeah, if you have ones that are very similar, there are dual dosha people out there. A lot of them can be. There are tridoshic people too who have all 3 that are fairly, but they are out there. So don't be surprised if that comes up, and we could always talk about that if you guys needed to. But yeah. Anybody else have any questions? Okay.
Every 6 weeks you come and get a service done that will help you stay on track?
That's a good question. Depending on the severity of, like, say maybe your imbalance, you're just wanting to just get overall healthier. Let's go with that one first. Say if you're just wanting to overall get a little healthier, yeah, I think we would start off, fill out for the next few days. Basically going over what time you get up, what do you do after you wake up, what do you eat, what time do you eat. I want to kind of get to know you and what got you to where you're at. And so then we can look at your diet and see maybe where we can tweak a couple of things. I don't want to seeing different ailments within your body and you're worried and want to, be a little bit more yourself out quicker. Then we would probably set up more of a regime where we do different treatments closer together and working on diet and exercise as well. And we would have to try to see, like how often you would need to come in just to kind of touch base, see how you're feeling, see if the changes that we've been making, it is not. It is completely tailored to you and your specific. If there's something that, let's say on your list of, I can have this, that's something I would want to talk to you about, and maybe we just eliminate it out of the diet, depending, maybe it's something that's not agreeing with you. Do you know what I mean? But a period of time, it's good to be aware of how this food is nourishing you, because food plays a big part in our health. And I think that it just gets overlooked a lot because of what we were taught and how we were. Don't be shy. Yeah. Vata oil. But if I'm doing, let's say, I use what it's called a Maharajan oil. It is for, and sometimes I also intuitively need to pick because oil, because a lot of times you'll have joint pain being Vata and air, so I might mix the two. Does that make sense? Okay. Mm-mm. I mean, it'll have it could have the base of it could be so Vata oil is mainly nervous system because Vatas tend to be a little bit more and so they need to calm that down. And then for Pittas, it's more of a coconut oil because instead of sesame oil is warming, coconut oil is cooling to the body. So if your Pitta is the cooling oil on your body to not raise that fire up, and it has different herbs in it for Pittas as well. Same with Kapha. It's just a little bit different. I think we use the base of sesame oil for Kaphas as well, but different herbs inside. Yeah. Yes. You're fine. Mm-hmm. Great. I love this question. So I'll just give an example. I had a client that came in, and no names, but I'll give an situation. They are very high in their air. They're needing to balance out in their air, and I suggested that should they get a Shirodara treatment done. They had a lot of so I did the Shirodara on them, and she got very emotional during the treatment. And so I don't have proven facts that this happens, but I've read that a lot of times these treatments are help to bring out thoughts that could be trapped, different situations that could be trapped, and that it just helps to release those. You know, meditation is a part of what I would also recommend to anybody. Anybody. I don't care if you're an overthinker. If you're an overthinker and you think, okay, so meditation's huge. It will help you big time. How am I doing on time? Meditation's a huge one. It's a part of Ayurveda. They strongly suggest it as well. Connection with your body and your mind and spirit. Another really important thing would be if you feel like you don't have like a thrive for what you're doing, it could just kind of bring you down. And what's my purpose? You know, just because it's not just the treatments, it's talking with the people. And, you know, sugar does not help my mental health at all. Like I noticed the more and more sugar. So working on diet, that will help people's mental health too. So yeah, thank you for that question, Lisa. Yeah. Those are the only doshas that there are. I don't know how they came about, you know, combining those doshas. I think it was just through a lot of study and I don't know all that. I would love to. But yeah, 5,000 years, yeah, it's a long time. A lot to do with studying people and what's going on with their bodies and figuring that out. But it's very based on Ayurveda and like not making sure not to do surgery and the points of the chakras. So surgeries today are based around that too. So it's pretty neat how it all kind of has traveled everywhere and things change. But yeah, thank you for that question. I think that's it, unless anybody else has something. I really hope you joining here today. I've loved telling you guys about it. I love to talk more about it later. Grab a drink if you didn't get to get a drink on your way in. There's a masala chai drink over there that has caffeine in it. There's also a bitter. I hope they're okay. They're like 4-ounce cups, but normally it's for 8 ounces. So I tried to so grab a drink and thank you guys. Enjoy the rest of the day.